So thank you for checking out my podcast. And if you're wondering how I record my podcast, well, I actually use Anchor, which is a fantastic tool, free resource to use. But if you're new to podcasting like I have been, it really helps you to get started without worrying about editing and doing all the sort of hard work yourself. It does it all for you. If you haven't used it, it's probably the easiest way to make a podcast. So let me explain a few tips for you. It's free, which is fantastic. You don't have to pay anyone to edit your podcast or pay for software. There's loads of tools that allow you to record and edit the podcast right from your phone and computer. So again, you don't need any special equipment. So if you're looking to start a podcast and you're sort of on a budget, it's a perfect way of starting. Um, the best thing which I found, it helps to distribute your podcast for you, so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more hosts that um, listen to podcasts. The best thing for me was that, because trying to distribute it from another software was really confusing, and all the technical know-how which I don't have was done for me by Anchor. So you can just, once you click the podcast, say where you want it delivered to, and it will do all the work for you, which is fantastic. And also, you can make money from your podcast um, with no minimum listenership. So ads like you listen to on this one, this is an ad just talking about Anchor. You can get a little bit of commission from that, which is great. So extra bit of money in your pocket from doing what you love. And I have no problem doing this advert for Anchor, because ultimately it has allowed me to create a podcast. So if you're passionate about something, I'm going to talk about it, and it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So for me, I would recommend Anchor 100% if you're looking to start to do a podcast. And obviously then you can, elaborate and get better with your podcast, but you can just get better sound equipment. But all the software you need to do a podcast on the go or at home on a computer is all from Anchor. So for me, it's the best tool I've ever used when it comes to starting a podcast. So definitely, if you're interested in starting your own podcast, whether that is on health or fitness or travel, just pick something that you're passionate about and talk about it, then download the free Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Hello and welcome to the Plant-Based Revolution podcast with your host, myself, Neil Damrell from My Lifestyle Coach. Thank you very much for listening again. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out listening to my podcast. And any feedback, as I said, as always, feel free to leave some comments on our social media sites. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, My Lifestyle Coach. It'd be great to connect with you guys listening out there and see how you guys receiving the podcast so far. So today's episode, I'm just going to discuss a little topic on nutrition, looking at the 8 foods that can help you live longer. So we all know how vital nutrition is in keeping ourselves healthy in body and mind, helping to prevent and reduce the likelihood of diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, cholesterol levels, etc. And also, it's going to help you live longer, because your body's going to be under less stress. You're going to give it the environment to thrive, so it will allow you to not necessarily live for years and years and years and years, but those years that you're going to live are going to be a lot healthier and more fulfilled than they would do if you weren't looking after yourself, so to speak. So it's quite interesting in terms of following a plant-based diet, that the foods I'm going to touch on today are actually all bar one plant-based foods. So it just highlights the importance of adapting more of a plant-based diet into your lifestyle. All the foods that are really good for us in terms of helping reducing heart disease, your chances of diabetes, generally are going to be more plant-based foods, as opposed to the high fat, high processed, high sugar foods that are generally more processed, such as your chocolates, cakes, Even your meats, quite high in saturated fat, so they need to be. You want to go for maybe leaner cuts of meat, which we're going to touch on today. So, number one, the basis of any good diet, regardless if you're a vegan, vegetarian, like I try and advocate, following a plant-based diet is going to help you get more fruits and vegetables in your diet, and that is a key. And that is number one. You want to get as much fruit and vegetables on your plate as possible with every meal. Research has shown that people that consume more fruits and vegetables tend to live longer than those who don't, due to the high nutrient content. So I always talk about this. A lot of people focus on nutrient dense calories as opposed to calorie dense calories. So while your vegetables will not contain many calories, they will contain loads of nutrients, which are vital for us to live healthy and live longer. So also it will help in terms of if you wanted to manage your weight a bit longer, or lose a little bit of weight excuse me, by having high nutrient dense calories on your plate. That way you're not going to be worrying too much about counting your calories. You're getting more good calories on your plate than you would do bad calories. So focus on, they want to say get the rainbow on your plate. Focus on a load of fruits and vegetables. Roast them, have them raw. Good mix of dark green, leafy green vegetables and sort of yellow variety in particular. Have also a great, as well as sweet potatoes, which is also a great staple in terms of getting some good carbs in there as well. So fruits and vegetables, number one. Make sure you get fruits and vegetables on your plate every meal, regardless. That's rule number one. Number two, another good source of food that you consume that will help you live longer, and you guys who like chocolate out there will be very happy to know that dark chocolate is excellent. You want to make sure that you go for the 70% cocoa bars, because they contain more flavonoids and less sugar. So don't want to go for the dairy milk variety, for example, because they're very high in sugar, high in dairy, so it's not always going to be the healthiest of chocolate choices. So you want to go for the dark chocolate. Cacao beans are packed with loads of antioxidants, which can help fight and reduce the risk of heart disease, which is the biggest killer that we face in the Western world. So, if you want a treat of an evening, get some dark chocolate in, a couple of slices of that. You don't need a lot of it. That's why it's so rich. But that way, you can have a nice treat without it ruining your diet. But also, it's going to help you boost your health in the long run as well. It's perfect. Number three, I would choose oily fish. So oily fish, I always recommend to everybody. You want to get 2 or 3 portions of oily fish in every week if you can. Looking for sources such as salmon, mackerel, sardines, trout. Great sources of protein, very low in saturated fat, but high in your good fats. So when people talk about the fats, you want to get your good fats in, which are your monosaturated and polyunsaturated fats. So don't be afraid of fats, just make sure you're choosing the right ones. And replacing those, sources of oily fish with your traditional red meat is definitely going to help improve and reduce your risk of heart disease. And reduce your overall meat consumption as well, which is going to be great. The high in omega-3 fatty acids, which has been linked to lowering the risk of heart disease, brain damage and stroke. So perfect. And there's also been recent research out there that looked at how fish of this variety can help combat Alzheimer's as well. So it's brain food. The fish is a brain food for the body, so make sure you're getting in some oily fish 2 or 3 times a week. I tend to make some in my wraps if I'm out and about, on the go. Just get some in my wrap with some spinach and hummus, and it's an easy go-to lunch if I'm unsure what to make each day. If you're looking to have your cup of tea in the morning, another good source to help you live longer is green tea. stable in the Eastern culture and Japanese diets for centuries. And if you look at research, they have had one of the healthiest populations on the planet. They live longer, they're active to a young and old age. Their chances of breast cancer and other lifestyle degenerative diseases are a lot lower. Only in recent times, since they've had the influx of Western influence, so McDonald's and all these processed foods have been going over to the Eastern cultures, actually has seen an increase in their obesity rates because of that, and the increase in diabetes, cancers, because of the Western influence. So just goes to show that they were doing things right, and the influx of capitalism, money, has caused them to have maybe an unhealthier way of life. But if we can go back to how healthy they were by drinking green tea, then that is something I have been drinking recently every morning for breakfast. With my breakfast, perfect. So really good source to help improve cardiovascular health. Research has shown it helps regulate your blood pressure. It can boost your immune system and lower your cholesterol. So having that as a regular drink in the morning compared to your old builder's tea is going to be a fantastic choice. And if you find it's a bit bitter to begin with, which it can be, maybe just add a slice of lemon in there, a drop of lemon juice or something, just to give it a bit of flavour. And you can get some green teas that are kind of been slightly flavoured with lemon juice as well, just to take the edge off, which is quite nice. So worth trying those than it would do if you would just want to go for the bitter one to begin with. So definitely think about investing in some green tea, absolutely. Olive oil, so number 5. We've heard about olive oil over and over. It's a staple in the Mediterranean diet, which is one of the healthiest diets in Europe. Studies have shown that people consume olive oil as a staple of their diet live longer. They found that those eating the plan, such as the Mediterranean diet, have 20% higher chance of living longer, gaining an average of 2 or 3 years longer living. So it goes without saying, you want to consume olive oil on a regular basis. Can help you stay trim and healthy. Like I said before, with the oily fish, it contains good monounsaturated fats. The key thing is, though, with olive oil is not to use it when you're cooking. So by doing that, it can damage and break down the molecules. So you want to make sure you're consuming it raw. So a tablespoon on your salad is a great source. If you want to just take it on its own, then take it on its own if you've got the stomach for it. But try and get a little bit on your salad, side salad in your lunch, in your side salad of an evening meal as well. Perfect, and then look for other sauces to fry. I tend to try and not use as much oil to fry because it adds excess calories to what would necessarily be a healthy meal. So if you are making like a stew, you don't really necessarily need olive oil to saute the vegetables. Just maybe a little bit of water to begin with, and then once you put all the stock in and stuff, it's going to be fine. So garlic is so good for you. It might not be good for your natural smell. I know I've drunk quite a bit garlic juice before, which helped stabilise some colds, but unfortunately you don't smell it on yourself, but other people have noticed it, and it was quite overpowering at the time. But studies have shown that consuming regular intakes of garlic can help combat cancer, has really good immune enhancing compounds that can help break down the substances that can cause cancer. So it goes without saying, and you want to try and have quite a bit throughout the day. So according to a lot of research, the people who consume it regularly will half their risk of stomach cancer than those who eat little or none. So the key factor is trying to, maybe if you are making anything, then think about how can you add a clove or two of garlic into your, chili con carne, into your salads, a little bit just grated on, just so you're constantly having that little bit more garlic on a regular basis. Little and often, spread throughout your meals might be better than trying to overload garlic in one of your meals, for example. Another great source as well is cranberries. Excuse me. Again, they contain loads of antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds, antibacterial and immune boosting properties, jam-packed with phytonutrients. So these are great protectors, which help combat cancer-causing molecules. I've mentioned in a previous podcast before about the free radicals that we're exposed to on a daily basis, and having a diet rich in antioxidants that cranberries contain, as well as blueberries, high in antioxidants which go and fight the free radicals. So that will help you live longer. The free radicals damage our cells. Think about rust or something being left out and rust get into it, that potentially corrode that thing, metal. That's what's happening with free radicals in our body, and if we don't continually give ourselves the right amount of antioxidants on a daily basis, these free radicals are going to degenerate our body, lead to risk for disease, etc. So making sure you're getting loads of antioxidants into your diet on a regular basis will help maintain and improve your chances and reduce your chances of diseases, and help you live longer as well. And the final one of today's show, talking about 8 foods that can help you live longer, is actually the coffee bean. Now, I have to say and confess that I have never had a cup of coffee in my life. It's quite sad to say. Not even a proper tea. I don't really like hot drinks, so I always have to have them quite lukewarm. But and I'm also a bit concerned if I start drinking coffee, I quite like it, so I might be a bit addictive though. So sometimes I have a bit of an addictive personality, so rather than having a bite of chocolate, I have the whole bar. So coffee for me is not something that's going to be on my radar. I think I'll exclude it. But if you do like coffee, then the antioxidants in the coffee bean help ward off diseases such as cancer, heart disease, diabetes, stroke. However, you must understand that coffee can raise your blood pressure, so drinking large amounts of it also can have the opposite effect. Okay, so I always say to people, you don't want to have any more than 5 cups of coffee a day. Really, anything more than 5 cups of coffee, and generally you're going to be addicted to caffeine. So, and also think about the caffeine or the coffee you're drinking. If you're having lattes high in fat with a lot of milk, or those other things they add to it, if it's not just coffee on its own. So bear in mind, if you are going to have some coffee, go for good coffee. Maybe go for decaf if you are drinking quite a bit, just so you're not potentially increasing your risk of high blood pressure as well by drinking too much. And enjoy it in moderation. So they always say alcohol is good for us, etc. But if we consume high amounts, it can be have the opposite effect. Same with exercise in general. If you exercise too much, your risk of injury, because you're not giving your body a chance to recover, and that's when your body actually improves when you're resting. So all these factors you have to account for. But definitely, if you are a coffee drinker, then enjoy your coffee. Maybe go for a decaf, and less than 5 a day. I would say mainly have your coffee in the morning. After lunchtime, no caffeine, so that will just help you unwind, especially in the evening. So you're going to rest and sleep a lot better in the evening if you're not chapped up on a load of caffeine of an evening. So definitely good for your sleep quality as well, to try and avoid caffeine after lunch. So there you go, guys. That's 8 foods that can help you live longer. We'll go through those again quickly. So number 1, goes without saying, fruits and vegetables on every plate, every meal, as much as you can. Get the rainbow on that plate. Enjoy a treat after dinner with some 70% cocoa dark chocolate perfect. Oily fish, that could be your dinner tonight with some vegetables. So look, you're getting 3 of those 8 on your plate in one meal, one evening already. How easy is that? Green tea, you could have that for your drink. That's a meal in itself. Splash of olive oil on top. It's so easy. When you read it like this and you look at it and you kind of see all these things, how they kind of all come together, how it's all about combining the healthy nutrients to your diet on a daily basis, and it's not, it's not going to be small little meals that you're going to struggle to consume. You can just add it in to what you're consuming. So olive oil, add that onto your vegetables. After some garlic, you can put the garlic in with the vegetables when you're roasting some vegetables. Cranberries, you could have had those as a snack during the day, or maybe add them on top of your porridge in the morning. And if you want your coffee, you can have your coffee in the morning. So there's no reason why you can't get those 8 foods that will help you live longer into your diet in one day and make it a stable thing most days as well. Maybe have oily fish 2 or 3 times a week, like I said, and replace those with other sources. But without saying, going to be vegetables on your plate every meal, and get those garlic and that olive oil on there as well. So perfect. That's what we're going to be my meals for next week. Absolutely. I hope that's been helpful for you guys. Just another short, to the point podcast today, helping you guys eat healthier, get more plant-based meals onto your plate every day. It's going to help you live longer, reduce your chances of heart disease, diabetes, have a glowing skin. We can go into those topics in the future. Numerous amount of benefits to consuming more plant-based meals on a daily basis. So again, thank you very much for listening. Hope it's been helpful. Feel free to get in touch through social media, Instagram, Facebook, and don't be afraid. If you are enjoying the podcasts, please leave us a review on iTunes, and if you do leave us a review, I'll give you a shout out on the next podcast. So any feedback will be much appreciated. Again, thank you very much for listening, and we'll speak to you again soon.